Hello. Today I want to look with you again at the story of the prodigal son. But today we're going to concentrate on the elder brother and his reaction to his younger brother returning home. So I'm just going to share my screen with you and we'll look at the story together. So the story of the elder brother, Lord of the Dance. Don't be an elder brother. Let's read the story. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. Your brother has come, he replied, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. And yet you never gave me even a young goat so that I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. My son, the father said, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So that story is found in Luke's Gospel, chapter 15, verses 25 to 32. You know, the older I get, the more I tend to lose things. And my wife will agree with this because I often put things in a safe place. But the problem is, I sometimes forget where that safe place is. However, you know, losing things provides me with an opportunity to find things. Because when I lose something, eventually I will find it and get the joy of finding what was lost. In fact, my wife often says to me, Simon, have you prayed about it? And I have to say, sometimes I haven't done. But when I find what I've lost, there is something to celebrate. And that makes up for the anxiety of loss. Back in the early 19th century in Kentucky, in the United States, there was a strange group of Christians called the United Society of Believers in Christ's Second Appearance. That was their official title. But most people just called them Shakers. Now, they were called Shakers because they would get so caught up in worship that their bodies would just begin to shake uncontrollably. Some would break into what they called a holy dance. Now, you know, the Shakers left us a tune called Simple Gifts. And in 1963, a hymn writer by the name of Sidney Carter added words to this tune and called it Lord of the Dance. He didn't think anybody would be interested in singing it, but it became very popular. You might have heard of it. You see, in this song, he represents Jesus Christ as the dancing, celebrating Savior. And the first verse goes like this. I danced in the morning when the world was begun, and I danced in the moon and the stars and the sun. And I came down from heaven and I danced on the earth. At Bethlehem, I had my birth. Dance then, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. Let me pose a question. I wonder what might cause you or I to break out into a holy dance. What might happen that the Lord of the dance would lead us in the music of celebration? Would it have to do with recovering something that was missing? Would you dance over finding something that had been lost? You see, the elder brother in this wonderful parable of Jesus didn't know that he had lost anything. He hadn't really figured out that what his brother had done was a loss for him. He thought it was somebody else's loss. He thought it was somebody else's problem, not his, when his brother ran off into that far country. You see, the elder brother hadn't realized that he himself was amongst the bereaved because he'd lost a brother. You see, if you don't recognize that you've lost anything, then there's no reason to celebrate when it's found. When the younger brother left home, taking his share of the inheritance to waste in riotous living, it was very clear that the father had lost something. The father had lost the son. The father had lost half of his wealth. The father had lost big time. And it soon became clear that the younger brother had lost something too. Because as the stories began to trickle back from the far country, it was clear that the younger brother had lost his integrity. In fact, he had lost his very soul. And as Jesus tells the story, the elder brother comes in from working in the fields and he hears something that he doesn't understand. And this is how Jesus tells the story. Now, his elder son was in the field, and when he came and approached the house, he heard music and dancing. He called one of the slaves and asked what was going on. He replied, "Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has got him back safe and sound." Do you know, isn't it interesting that the elder brother had to ask what the sound was? It's fascinating that he didn't seem to recognize the sounds of celebration. He'd never really imagined himself to be a person in need. So perhaps the sounds of celebration were very foreign to him. You know, brothers and sisters, the most serious issue that the church faces today is the inability to connect with the lives and the heart cries of broken people. We have forgotten to hear how people hurt. Because perhaps we in the church have become so preoccupied, especially in the Western churches, with our own comfort that we've lost sight of our real mission. And what is our mission? Well, surely our mission is to reach and to teach, to find and to reach the least, the lost, and the lonely, men and women, young people, boys and girls. They are wandering, distracted, off on the wrong track. And it's our task as disciples and followers of Jesus to reach out to them with the good news of the saving, redeeming Jesus Christ. But you see, so many of us behave like the elder brother. We don't really expect anything special to happen. We really do not think that deep down conversion happens, the kind of conversion that turns a person totally around, heart and soul, mind and emotions, relationships and affections, just like the Apostle Paul. You see, the gospel truly is the good news that Jesus saves. And that was what the Apostle Paul himself found. You see, we who have been in the church for many years have forgotten that there are people out there who desperately need what only Jesus can give. We've forgotten that in the end they belong to us, so that when they come home, we should be amongst those rejoicing over what was lost and is now found, what was blind but now can see. And so often that doesn't happen. And if we have the spirit of the older brother, we get anxious when somebody comes home. We get uncomfortable when a heart is deeply touched and perhaps tears flow, or laughter rings out, or bodies shake. And this is reflected in the song. And here is the words. I danced on the Sabbath when I cured the lame. The holy people said it was a shame. They whipped and they stripped and they hung me high and they left me there on the cross to die. Dance then, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. You know, I hope that you and I have the urge to dance. I hope that you and I hear the music and the laughter. I hope that we feel something when the lost come home. You know, it's too bad if we have to ask what all the fuss is about. And it's very sad if our attitude is these things are taking too long. But let's not worry about the time. There is a party going on with music and dancing. Don't worry about the delay when your younger brother or sister comes home. The main priority is to rejoice and to celebrate. You see, the elder brother hasn't come to the party because he's out of touch with how much grace he himself receives day by day. He refuses to sing. He doesn't want to dance because his life is so predictable that he's forgotten the grace of God that he himself has earned and accepted with such abundance that we forget, and he forgot to celebrate. He answered his father, listen, for all these years I've been working like a slave for you. I've never disobeyed your command, and yet you've never given me even a young goat so that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came back, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fatted calf for him. Then the father said to him, son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. You see, brothers and sisters, all that the Father has is ours too. We're blessed. Perhaps we've forgotten it, but we are blessed. And even that in itself ought to be a cause for music and dancing. That in and of itself ought to stir our souls and maybe move our bodies. For the grace of God abounds, but we lose sight of it. We get out of touch with it. We get out of touch with the fact that it's by the goodness of God that we are home to. What a shame if we are so good we don't know how bad we are. What a shame if we've been so busy keeping ourselves under control that we've never had a reason to revel in the workings of the Father's grace. Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. Do we hear that? We are blessed. Even those of us who think we've got it all together, maybe we need to sing and dance because everything we have is all of grace. It's all a gift. Brothers and sisters, rejoice. Rejoice with all your hearts. Break forth into song. Let's lose those inhibitions. Let's follow that urge to lift our hands in praise. Let's not stop our feet from tapping or our bodies from swaying in time with the rhythms of grace. For there is a party going on, and it will not be denied. Just listen to what the Father said. But we had to celebrate and rejoice because this brother of yours was dead and has come to life. He was lost and has been found. We have to celebrate and rejoice. Jesus said, if we do not, the very rocks will cry out. If we don't celebrate, something deep within us will die. If we don't celebrate, it's because we're unwilling to see what God is doing, even right here, right now. We have to celebrate because something dead is coming to life. Something lost is being found. And so no small celebration will do. The celebration must be grand. It must be exuberant. It must be glorious. Surely the celebration of the lost coming home must be glorious. Perhaps it should get our whole selves involved. Perhaps we too should celebrate with music and dancing. Sydney Carter got it right. I danced on a Friday and the sky turned black. It's hard to dance with the devil on your back. They buried my body and they thought I'd gone, but I am the dance and I still go on. They cut me down and I leapt up high. I am the life that'll never, never die. I'll live in you if you live in me. I am the Lord of the dance, said he. So brothers and sisters, come on, let's put on our dancing shoes. Let's go to the party, sing and dance along to the banqueting hall where the feast has been prepared. For the lost has been found and wanderers are coming home. In fact, even the dead are alive again. Surely that's something to celebrate.